Alright, so I'm back. I'll start from the beginning of what I actually have on here and tell you all the systems and all the games and how many games for each system. So initially I wanted to have arcade, you know, when I was going to do the arcade, it wanted to be, definitely have arcade games on it. I mean, how you build an arcade without arcade games? That would be crazy. So this tab is arcade games, and I'm sure you can't see it because the font is pretty small, but I have 2,288 arcade games. For arcade games, that's just arcade games. That's not including any other system. 2,288 arcade games. And I get into the system, press the A button, and it gives you a video preview. Most of them give you a video preview of the games. So that's 88 games. It gives you a preview of what the game is, tell you when it came out, who released it. I know most people don't care about that information, but it's a talking point for video game geeks and stuff like that. So as you see, there's all the games. They have video game previews. So yeah, one of the games I used to like to play, well, I like to play the Sega Genesis version because that was the first game that I had on Sega Genesis was Ultra Beast. I didn't even know that it was an arcade game. Let me see if, but yeah, I'm not gonna take all your time showing you every game because we're still in the A's. It's all alphabetical order and we're still. Show you a quick game, how it works. Now, it's asking me to insert coin. I have it rigged so that I can press a button to insert the coin. So when you went to the arcades, it would just be at this screen waiting for you. There's a coin slot below. I don't have a coin slot that actually works. I will probably purchase one later, but you know, it's very rare that anybody comes over and plays, so I'll still have it rigged to just press the button. So press the button, and then off you go.
Live on your radio.
I used to love getting these power-ups. So if I can get the book, I will quit. I got the book. This was my first game on Sega Genesis, and I had no clue that it was on any arcades because, again, we didn't really go to the arcades like that. Press these two buttons and I'm out. So that's the arcade. I got, like I said, 2,288 arcade games. All right. Next over, we have the Atari 2600. Now, I don't even think I was born. No, I might have been born when the Atari 2600 came out. I remember my sister, somebody gave something to my mother. I don't know who it was. I just remember her walking in with this old console, and I don't think we had a video game system at the time. And clearly this was pretty old. But to a kid, you're like, oh, it's an arcade system, or it's a video game system, and it connects to your TV. And anyway, I don't know many people who know about the Atari 2600, but I think it was the first Atari system that came out. Don't quote me, I could be wrong. I have 667 Atari 2600 games. As you see, the video shows the quality pretty bad. Very bad. Very bad. Yeah, I never play anything from Atari 2600. This is completely for nostalgia, just to have it. Just to say, if somebody said, "Oh yeah, do you remember something?" I can come home and check it out and see. But yeah, I don't know anything about it. I tried to play this alien game last week, and I was so bored. It looked like Pac-Man. I was like, how are they going to take Pac-Man and call it Alien? But yeah. So I'm not going to do a preview of me playing 2600 games. Next, I have the Atari 5200. And I have 72 games of that. I'm actually one day going to just remove the 5200 completely off because I don't even think they work anymore. But they were a little bit better. They came after the 2600, but most of them don't work. Still pretty terrible graphics. Now I will say a game that I love to play from the Atari series was Centipede. I love Centipede. But I didn't play it on this version, I played it on the 7800. And I liked to dig Dug when I was a kid, so I remember those games. Dig Dug, Frogger, some people were talking about Frogger. I didn't personally play Frogger, but hey. Some of the older folks love Joust for some reason. I never played Joust. So that's the Atari 5200. I also have in the Atari series, the Atari 7800. Now this, I remember a great deal because my older cousin, William Cook, everybody called him Boo. I went over his house, my great-grandmother's house at the time, and he had this, and I will never forget, his instructions were that I could play it, but I had to remember to hit the power button to cut it off. I never remembered to cut the power button, and he hated the fact that I would leave it on and it would get hot. The system would get really hot and would overheat. So they didn't have a good, I don't think back then they had fan systems for these home video game consoles. In fact, I'm pretty sure they didn't have a fan. Like in your computer, there's a fan, there's running, there's a fan on your CPU, there's a fan on the board, there's a fan on, you know, all the consoles of today. But back then, they didn't have one. So for this system, Atari 7800, I have 59 games. And again, the graphics were what they were, but I will play Centipede now. Centipede. I enjoyed Centipede. I played Centipede all the time. Alright, so that's Centipede. I love it. I love to play that. It's funny to play something so old, but I still enjoy playing it. I'm 40 years old, but I still enjoy it. Next to this, I have the Atari Lynx. The Lynx was the first handheld. So, you know, you had the Game Boy, you had Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, all that good stuff, right? The Sega Game Gear. But the Lynx actually was the first. The Lynx came out before the Game Boy, and it was color, which oddly enough, the Game Boy still outsold all of them. Every colored handheld, portable handheld game system that came out before and after the Game Boy, none of them could hold up, which is crazy. Nintendo was really kicking butts in the 80s. So, 76 games for the Atari Lynx. See the video snapshots. So, that's that. I'm not going to play one of these handheld games. Again, I don't play a lot of them. It's mostly just to say I have it. You know, it's like a collector's deal type thing. You know, so there's a lot of good games on it for someone who love it. Now, I will tell you, this next system I loved, and it was the last console that Sega came out with, and it was way ahead of its time, way ahead of its time. If Sony hadn't come out with something called PlayStation 2, Sega would still be making consoles, because that was the only reason that this system didn't do as well as it should have done. But, you know, it is what it is. So, my personal favorite from Sega is the Dreamcast system. I have 44 games for the Dreamcast. They were very popular for the 2K series. That was, you know, when Live first came out, people thought it was trash. But then, and Madden was struggling at that time to really make good games. So when NFL 2K and NBA 2K first came out, this was the system to introduce it. And they were great games. So on the Dreamcast, I wasn't able to do video snapshots on this one, but I have picture art, and one of my favorite games that I play on Dreamcast is, I got several of them. I love Crazy Taxi. Crazy Taxi is so fun. So I will just do a quick run through of Crazy Taxi. Sega, I tell you. They made great, they've been in the game for such a long time making great games.
Hey, come on over, have some fun with Crazy Taxi. Yeah. Crazy Taxi. It's party time, let's have some fun.
Hear that?
Alright, let's go make some crazy money.
And because I have
Go ahead.
so many different systems, I forget the button configurations for all of them. I always use Radio
Oh,
Joe.
that's so fun.
Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go.
She get tough. So, that was Crazy Taxi. Just a second.